The rain lashed against the window panes of Julian's small room, a relentless, drumming rhythm that mirrored the anxious beat in his own chest. Outside, the world was a blur of gray and green, a landscape as desolate as his own existence before he found Alara. They had met in the hushed corners of a forgotten online forum, a place where souls bared their deepest wounds under cloak of anonymity. Alara, residing in the spectral quiet of Harrow's under a crumbling manor house perched precariously on the edge of the wind-whipped moors, erode with a stark, poignant beauty about the affliction slowly claiming her. She called it the wasting sickness, a decay that began in the soul and crept outwards, leaving behind only dust and despair. Julian, isolated in his own quiet corner of the world, was captivated. Her words painted vivid, heartbreaking pictures of failing strength, of watching the world fade through a veil of fatigue and pain. He spent hours poring over her posts, her digital whispers echoing in the lonely space of his heart. He felt a kinship with this dying stranger, a profound connection forged in a crucible of shared digital isolation. He sent her messages, tentative at first, then bolder, offering comfort, sharing his own trivial struggles in the face of her immense one. Alara responded with a fragile grace, her online presence a flickering candle against the encroaching darkness she described. Weeks rolled into months. Julian's life became tethered to the rhythm of Alara's updates. He worried when she was silent, his stomach twisting with dread. He celebrated small victories when she spoke of a slightly better day. He imagined her there, in that lonely manor, wrapped in shawls against the perpetual chill, gazing out at the bleak moors. He built an entire world around the dying girl in Harrow's End, a world both beautiful and tragic. A doubt, insidious and cold, began to worm its way into his thoughts. It started with small inconsistencies in her stories, a mention of a walk she shouldn't have had the strength for, a detail about sunlight, when the weather reports for that region predicted perpetual gloom. He dismissed them at first, attributing them to the confusion of illness, the fading clarity of a mind under duress. Yet, the feeling persisted, a faint, unpleasant hum beneath the surface of his empathy. Driven by a need to reconcile the image in his mind with the unsettling discrepancies, Julian began to dig deeper. He used fragments of information she had inadvertently shared, or a fleeting mention of a town, a detail about a specific local landmark near Harrow's End. He scoured public records, online databases, anything that could confirm the existence of Alara, her family, the specific nature of Harrow's End. What he found sent a sickening jolt through him. He found social media profiles, not under the name Alara, but another name, tied to the same location. Profiles displaying photographs taken recently, showing the young woman vibrant with life, laughing with friends, exploring sunlit places on a stark, horrifying contrast to the dying recluse of Harrow's End. There was no trace of the wasting sickness, only the carefree energy of youth. The manor Harrow's End itself was real, but the person Julian knew, the person he had mourned and connected with, seemed to be a phantom born of pixels and lies. His carefully constructed world shattered. The profound connection he felt curdled into bitter betrayal. How could she? How could anyone weave such a cruel, elaborate falsehood? The empathy he felt was replaced by a cold, righteous fury. He crafted a message, sharp and unforgiving, a digital blade aimed at the heart of the deception. He accused her of cruelty, of mocking real suffering, of building her narrative on a foundation of lies. He hit send, unleashing his rage into the digital ether, aimed directly at the woman he now saw as a fraud. The response was not what he expected. Not an apology, not a confession, but a video call request. Hesitantly, his anger still burning, Julian accepted. The screen flickered to life, revealing not the vibrant young woman from the photos, but something else entirely. The room behind her was dark, the air thick with a palpable dread. And Illyra, she was there, but twisted, distorted. Her face seemed to ripple, like water disturbed by an unseen force. Her eyes were wide, filled not with deceit, but with a terror so profound it chilled him to the bone. Shadows clung to her, not just the mundane shadows of a poorly lit room, but something deeper, animated, reaching. They writhed around her, coalescing, pulling at her form. Her voice, when she spoke, was a dry, rasping whisper, barely audible above a faint, unnatural static that seemed to emanate from her presence. It came for the lies, she choked out, the words catching in her throat as if physically restrained. You broke the veil, you showed them. The shadows surged, wrapping around her like hungry tendrils. Her form contorted, her features melting into a mask of pure agony. Julian watched, frozen in horror, as the darkness consumed her, pulling her into itself. Her final scream was cut short, replaced by a guttural, non-human sound that clawed at his sanity. Then the scream went black. Silence descended upon Julian's room, broken only by the distant drumming of the rain. The connection was severed. He was alone again, but the loneliness now felt infinite, tainted by the monstrous truth he had witnessed. He had just exposed a lie. He had unleashed a horror. He looked at his own reflection in the dark screen, half expecting to see the same creeping shadows, drawn by the anger, the betrayal, the sheer terror that now consumed him. A flicker at Harrow's end had been extinguished, leaving only the memory of its monstrous consumption and the chilling certainty that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed.